Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Chico Xavier Spirit Center. We are here tonight for our study with Emmanuel, where we choose one chapter of one of the books that were psychographed by Chico Xavier from the collection Living Spring, where Emmanuel takes just one verse from the New Testament and creates a whole chapter about it. Before we start, I would like to invite everyone to our Spiritist Symposium. This is a national symposium, so it happens just once a year. This year, we're very blessed to have it here in Portland, and it is going to talk about mental health and how spirituality can help us balance ourselves from the inside out. So it's going to be on Saturday, September the 30th, the whole day. We start registration at 9 a.m. We invite you to acquire the ticket. You can just scan the icon over there, and they will take to the landing page where you can register. But on the other hand, if you feel like you cannot afford to pay the ticket, which I believe it's $30, please talk to us. We don't want anyone to do not go because they cannot afford for whatever situation. Everyone is invited. For those who have kids, we're also going to have a youth group during the day, so you don't need to worry about what to do with your kids. So our study today, we'll be talking about the book, The Way, the Truth, and the Life, which is part of the Living Spring collection, chapter 53, Peace. And when I was choosing this chapter, I would say it's because I was looking for peace. And usually we say that the speaker is usually the one that needs to learn more, because that's the closest ear to the mouth we're speaking. And as always, Emmanuel helps us understand some of the challenges that we go through and the type of tools we have to help us during our journey here on Earth. But before we start, I would like to invite you all to close your eyes if you feel safe. Take a deep breath within. We know that we are surrounded by God's love. This is a moment that we are connecting with this source, with the Creator, with Jesus, who is our mother or our master. And we all here to learn to ask for help. So may each one of us be open to all the blessings that are being shared right now. We're going to be talking for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then we're going to have our prayer and our passes. For those who were not able to be here in person, please remember that whatever you are, it's through our minds and our hearts that we connect to our Creator, and that we shall receive everything that we ask for. Amen. So the passage that we'll be studying today is Jesus saying to the apostles, "Peace be with you." This is in John chapter 20, verse 20. A very small verse. 4 words, peace be with you. But the moment that the apostles were leaving there is when Jesus come back after the crucifixion. And if we go back 2,000 years ago, can you imagine the desperation, the sadness, the emptiness that the apostles were feeling at that time? They had Jesus as the anchor, as the safe harbor to basically guide them. They were basically being persecuted by the Jewish people. The Romans were behind them, going after them. They were terrified. We had the apostles basically denying, getting desperate on the Last Supper, questioning why he had to go. If today, if we think about that, how we would feel exposed to a situation like that we feel weak, we feel alone, we feel sad because we just lost that one being that was the source of all the confidence of the faith that we thought that we had, but then we realized that we don't. It didn't make a lot of focus, right? So Peter denied him 3 times. Judas, we know what he did. So each one of them made their own mistakes. So they were probably also thinking about their guilt, like I shouldn't have done it. How could I do that? When Jesus was talking about loving everyone, how can I chop someone's ear? How can I deny him? How can he knew that I was going to deny him? So talking about a convoluted moment, a turmoil and a storm, knowing that people will be, going after them, trying to put them inside prisons and kill them. Now that they didn't have the biggest defensor that they had. And then by Jesus coming to them at that point, and we know that the apostles were mediums, not, of course, as good mediums as Jesus, but we have several examples in the New Testament where we see Peter curing people just by people walking by his shadow, and other, beautiful things like, the tongues of fire, that each one of them, the 12 apostles, each one of them was speaking a different language, each language from one of the tribes. So they were very good mediums. So they see Jesus over there. Jesus shows up in front of them. And the only thing that he says, or the first thing that he says, is not, Giselle, you did that. You disappointed me. How could you? No. He says, peace be with you. And I want to call an attention of this little word here again, because we know that many times Jesus would say, I give you my peace. When he was born, the angels, and this is in the New Testament, they say, peace be on earth. So within everything that's going on, he's repeating the same message. It's peace in the middle of the storm. Peace inside, no matter what's going on. My peace, I give it to you. There is a third thing important on this small phrase here, which is Jesus showing us about the afterlife. He's coming back intact with the wounds. He says, Thomas, touch my wounds. So there are 2 important lessons that the Spirit prevails, that our bodies may die, but life continues. And in everything that we may go through, the most important message to keep is peace. Let's do this. And it's hard to do this. It is very hard to do peace when we're living in a world that each one of us carry like a backpack full of problems. Full of problems with, concerns, real, life-changing, impacting that sometimes that backpack it is so heavy that we feel like we cannot carry it alone. And then he comes in, and that's exactly how the apostle was feeling. I cannot imagine that. People being eaten by lions. Come on, right? Today our lives are much easier than that. So what Emmanuel is going to do right now is develop this small phrase into a chapter. Unveil all the message, all the words that Jesus said. Such inquirers have no notion of justice, nor do they understand that it would be a big mistake to relieve human beings of elements of work, redemption, and spiritual growth. So we're saying that we live in a planet, we still need to learn a lot of things. It is a planet that suffers pain. It's part of the day-to-day. Not because that's what God wants from us, it's because that's what we are ready for. Because what we see outside is what we have inside. They are often put off by the reiterated and loving recommendations for peace contained in communications from the afterlife, because they still have not harmonized themselves with Christ. So when John was very old, John, which we know was the apostle that was chosen by Jesus to take care of his mother, very old, they would ask John, so tell me what Jesus said. And then he would say, because you one another, love each other. They say, no, but what else did Jesus say? We have not even learned that yet. Because the moment that I learn to forgive, love my neighbor, I will find peace. So many times we keep asking the celestial spirits, our guardian, okay, so take this person out of my life, take this problem from me, take the sickness, make it disappear. Nobody wants to have cancer. Nobody wants to go through divorce. Nobody wants to lose a job. Oh, nobody wants to be rejected. But why do we go from that? Why do we have to go through that? And he's explaining that we need to learn something. It's for spiritual growth. Let us observe the master with his disciples when he returned from the spirit realm to comfort them. His word holds no disturbing message. He didn't point fingers or the least bit of sensationalism. Here, yeah, look at me, I'm the Christ. Nor does it advance in any concept of supernatural revelation. He didn't come basically saying, be ready. In 10 days, this is going to happen. In 1 year, just no. It's down to earth. Jesus shows them that there is indeed life after death, and that he wishes them peace. The two full messages here. Is that not enough for the sincere soul who is seeking integration with the higher realms? If I know that there's life after death, I put my pain, all the obstacles, all the challenges that I have in a different perspective. I will look at my source of pain as a way to wake up something inside of me. Because if I am invested with my patience, that's the patience that I need to grow. If I'm being tested in my ego, that's my pride that I need to work. If I am tested in my forgiveness, it's because I did something in the past and I need to forgive. Because I need forgiveness too. Are not the mere facts of acknowledging the afterlife, the certainty that you will be held accountable for your acts, enough responsibility? And this paragraph is pretty powerful, because sometimes we think that we are here, we can do things, and nobody will see, and that's all right. Maybe we're not caught by, the props. and or I'm unfaithful and my husband doesn't know, so that's right. Or if I lie to my kids and they don't know, it's all right. Or if I try to, my doctor tells me you cannot drink and I drink, I'm full. So what he's saying is that every action that I do is a seed that I am planting. So a very easy line of thought is that if I plant an orange seed, I'm gonna grow an orange tree. If I plant a tomato seed, I'm gonna grow a tomato tree. If I am sowing bad things, I am going to grow, I'm gonna suffer. If I am planting good things, I'm gonna sow good things. And I remember my mom saying that, good things happen to good people. And I said, so why nothing good happens to me? Wow. Because there's more than just a today. Sometimes I smoked for 25 years and I damaged my lung. And then I get lung cancer. And then I start praying for the lung cancer to go. But then I start doing 25 years. It will take a whole lot of time to fix that. And that goes the same with the relationships that somehow we broke in the past, not only this life, in previous lives. We are here to learn, and we will be responsible, accountable to everything that we did. To work and suffer are the logical processes of spiritual evolution and ascension. God doesn't want us to suffer. Why do we suffer? And Jesus never said, oh, Giselle, you're not going to suffer. No, he suffered himself. Not because he needed, but because the degree of ignorance of our planet is still very large. We are ignorant people. But we need to suffer because we planted the wrong seeds. So are just reaping our mistakes. Say, oh, but this life has been so good, what did I do? Why my son, my daughter was born with a medical problem? What did this child do wrong? Not living in this life. But we know that the body comes from the body, but the spirit comes from God. We were born awake before. So continuing, that we may abide by these imperatives of the law with sufficient peace is the love and impure desire of Jesus. So the moment that we understand that there is a law that is love, charity, justice, love and charity, there is this justice that is perfect. There's this law of love, which is immense and infinite, that comes from God. There's charity, which means that the moment that I do good to others, that's going to come back to me. First, because it feels good to do good to others. Helping makes us feel good. Giving makes us feel good. But then I do something good for Giselle, and then she will be grateful. Maybe she won't, but there are other invisible beings that will be grateful. Her guardian angel will be grateful for sure. Maybe her grandmother, who already passed, will be grateful for it. Every time that I am an instrument of goodness, that comes back to me. Let us make an effort to understand such truth, because there are many followers who are waiting for some extraordinary sign. They are like lazy individuals, resting in the shade as they wait for the night fire of the least effort. And many times, this is exactly us. We come here, we say, okay, I'm going to take a passe, I'm going to receive a passe, and all my problems will disappear. I'm sorry, there's no miracle. We have no power to do that. So what's the power of the passe? What's the power of this? It's changing here. It's changing here. It's helping all the invisible beings that are surrounding us, that many times do not give us the best ideas. It's going to help us hang out with a crowd that will help us be better people. And with that, we're going to sow good seeds. And with that, we're going to reap the good things. But it's always a process. And what Emmanuel wanted to do that is that Jesus didn't tell the apostles, all your problems will be gone, all will be gone, all your problems will disappear now that I'm here. And they didn't. And he said, my peace, my heaven is not from here, is in there. Because here he knew that we would suffer. And when we think about now, before COVID, after COVID, it seems to be even more complicated than it was 3 years ago. Going through all the mental challenges that we haven't seen. For people who have teenagers, they know the challenges with anxiety, the challenges with drugs, the challenge with depression. This emptiness that somehow we went through this wake-up call for 2 years of COVID, and many of us didn't change a bit. What was the lesson here? The lesson was basically God put us on the corner over there for 2 years to think that my action will have repercussion on my neighbor, that I needed to not only think about myself, but if I was sick and I was close to someone, I could make the other person sick and that person might die. So when we look about all the pain and suffering that people are going through right now, and with social media, with all the type of anger, we know that there is a red telephone that we can dial. We have WhatsApp that we talk with, family in Brazil. We need to know that there is a WhatsApp to talk to the superior spirits. And that WhatsApp, it's called prayer. As simple as that. That when we pray, not with complicated words, not long, decorated ones, but with the heart, with the sincere feeling, all the prayers are heard. Does it mean that all my prayers will be accepted? No, because if my son's prayer would be accepted, would be to have hamburger every day, lunch and dinner. As a good mother, can I give my son hamburger and fries every day? No. So many times we don't know what we ask, but for a 14-year-old, that sounds great. I'm getting pizza, I'm good, right? And many times this is our ask. We want the hamburger and the pizza. So we need to be very careful with what we ask. We need to ask for strength. We need to ask for wisdom. We need to ask for courage. We need to ask for energy because sometimes we feel tired. We need to ask for new friends, good friends, people that are better than us, that can teach us things that we can learn from, not hanging out with people that make us feel like sadder. And I think this was one of the things that happened with COVID. Many of us are now much more careful with people that we hang out. So let's remember that we have the red phone. And we don't need to be right here to use the red phone. The connection here is better than at home, that's for sure. But that red phone is available for us 24/7, in the car, in the bathroom, in bed, any place. So what Jesus is trying to explain to us is that we need to find peace during the storm. Why is that the emissaries of the invisible world do not provide remarkable discoveries to the world? So there's so many sickness. Why it took 2 years to discover that vaccine for COVID? Because we needed to experience that. We needed to grow. We needed to go back to our families. We needed to think about the closest closer. We need to go inside and review our priorities. Why do I need new clothes? Why do I need a new car? Why do I need this and that? No. The people that were able to go through COVID the best way were not the ones that were wealthier, were the ones that found peace within that moment, that darkness. Why do they not reveal ways to cure the diseases that defy medical science? Actually, they do many times, but it's everything at one time. And that's how we see that through evolution, through technology, we are able to deal with very complex problems. But people still go through pain, not because God wants us to suffer, but because we need to experience that to grow on humility. Many of us think that we can control everything. We can't. And sometimes it's God may saying, oh, hey, Anna, I'm sorry, you cannot control that. You cannot control your mind, actually, which is you thought that you could. Why do they not prevent the war's conflicts between nations? This is still a planet of expiations. This is still a planet that is going through this planetary transition that at some point will be a place where the good will be bigger, stronger than the evil, the pain. But to that happen, each one of us, all of us need to change. It's our responsibility. It's like a big puzzle that in one side of that puzzle is the whole planet and the other side is the human being. If we do not fix the human being, we are not going to fix the world. We are not going to fix the planet. So why are we here? Why we decide to come to this set? What we are looking for? How are we living our lives? Are we living our lives like there's no tomorrow? I'm putting all my priorities on the things that can just disappear at any time because I don't even own my family. To this life, I am married to this man. Next life, I don't know. So this self-reflection is very important because the basket that we are putting our values is where our heart's going to be. And where our heart's going to be is how we're going to face the challenges of everyday's life. We're here for a journey and there is a process and we need to live the process. Such inquiries have no notion of justice, nor they understand that it would be a big mistake to relieve human beings from the elemental work, redemption, and spiritual growth. One example, my son doesn't like math. I'm very good in math. So I can do his homework. Am I helping? No. Because he needs to go through the process. He needs to learn. They are often put off by the reiterated and loving recommendations for peace, contained in communications from the afterlife, because they still have not amortized themselves with Christ. We see that in that very little verse, how much Emmanuel was able to develop. Just by the word again and peace. So there are a lot of things that we still need to learn, to rethink. Like Jesus' example, words with no disturbing message, or at least a bit of sensationalism, no concepts of supernatural revelation. How are we treating the people that know less than us? And that people, by people like that know less, I mean morally less. Are we pointing fingers? Are we criticizing? Or are we giving them love? Wishing them peace? Because each one of us have at least one difficult person in our circle. Maybe my spouse, my parents, my kids, because that's how family rules. Maybe my boss. So that's the moment that we need to plan the peace. But instead, Jesus shows them that there is indeed life after death and that he wishes peace. So no matter what the storm that we are going through, let's think about this, the power of this word, not because of the other person, not because the other person deserves. No, the peace is for me. When I put peace inside of me, I'm the one living. I am the one benefiting from that peace. And I listed some of the life challenges that some of us may look at them and say, yeah, I've been through that. I know how it feels. I know the pain. It's a curveball, and nobody's saying that it's easy. So we need to look at each one of those and think, how can I put peace in that moment, in that experience, in that pain? What can I do? What is in my control? The facts can be acknowledged in a different way when we focus on the afterlife and the certainty that we'll be held accountable for our actions. If I decide to have anger, desperation, I have the effects immediately. My heart may beat faster, and I get short breath, and I get like a tummy ache. I have a headache. The response from the body is immediate. Let's remember that. That impacts my body. It's impacting all the environment around. So when I face despair, disbelief, grief, anger, anxiety, depression, suicide, let's think about that's the wrong way. Let's switch. How can I switch? Maybe praying, coming to the spiritual center, reading a page. There are tons of spiritual books that can be downloaded for free online. If you go Gospel According to the Spiritist PDF, you're going to find. For me, the best one is chapter 6 of this book, The Gospel According to Spiritism. This is the chapter 6 is Christ the Consoler. And I would say that in the moments that I was suffering the most difficult ones, I would read that chapter out loud. It's a very short chapter, probably the shortest one in this book, 3 pages. And I would finish this chapter completely. Because this is Jesus talking to us. Jesus saying, come to me. I'm going to help you. I'm here. Come to me. So let's switch our mindset. This is on us. This is what we can control. We should be able to control our minds. The divine laws to work, to progress. So it's nobody here is just saying, okay, I'm going to pray and cross my arms and just wait. No, we need to do our part. We need to be responsible. Just like I was saying about my son learning math. We will progress. Both wings, the moral wing, the intelligence wing, and everything is always embraced by the law of love, justice, and charity that governs the whole universe. So let not sit and wait for miracles. Don't wait for miracles from passes, from prayers immediately. Because we need that inner work, we need the inner reform, this transformation, how we can move our mindset. Let's understand the truth and do our best every day to our spiritual practice. So I put here some suggestions. Chapter 15, item 10. There's the chapter 6 from the Gospel According to Spiritism. Some people talk about love, charity. We think about our inner reform, how we can evaluate the way that we think, the way that we talk, the way that we act, and the small things, the big things. And now we go to our virtual Passe. Let's elevate. This moment is the moment that we receive. It's the moment that we ask help. And we know that we can ask anything. That the good spirits are listening to us. So let's elevate our thoughts, inviting our guiding spirits to be with us at this moment, involving each one of us with love, with peace, with gratitude. Gratitude for being here tonight. Gratitude for this blessed doctrine that helps us rethink our priorities, our needs, our asks. Dear Jesus, hold our hands. Help us through our journeys. You know our pains, our sufferings, our difficulties. Please be with us. Take care of our families. Help us through the noise of our lives so we can continue firm with courage, with faith, with energy in all the moments and circumstances. We ask for all of those who ask for prayers. May they receive everything they need. May they be helped, whatever they are. We ask for the protection of this place, for all of those who are here in the spiritual realm asking for help. May we be all blessed with your love and blessed with your peace. Amen. So this was the spiritual Passe. I will suggest each one of you to always have a bottle with water to be blessed. And you can drink this water and through the week after this meeting. And for everyone who is online, I say have a good night. Thank you so much, and see you next week. Goodbye.